Welcome to Basox TV. We've got lots of classic and original TV shows. Subscribe now and enjoy the video.
Not the shrinking cap, Grandpa!
Catch me if you can!
Grandpa! No, be careful! Grandpa, stop! In my pocket! Our town is called Sunnysands because it's always sunny and it's by the sea. We love spending time at our beachette on the beach. And you can see the lighthouse from my bedroom window. This is Mum and Dad's bike shop. And here's Miss Smiley's cafe, which serves the best ice cream sundaes in the world. Then there's Mr Whoops's shop, where you can buy anything and everything. Everyone loves Sunnysands. It was a sunny Saturday morning and Mum had a new hobby, gardening. And you know what Mum's new hobbies are like? They take over the whole house.
All I can say is I'm glad she's at the bike shop today, Jason, even if she has left us in a forest.
But the forest is great to play with all my beasts, Grandpa.
I wouldn't call Gordon a beast.
But we can pretend he's one.
I tell you what, Jason, as it's such a lovely day, why don't we take the beasts into the garden?
And that's how it all started. It was going to be really good fun because today we were going to have a garden full of beasts. But just then, the doorbell went. I ran to answer it, and who should come storming in?
I've come to help.
Great Aunt Loretta.
And not a moment too soon.
Oh, yes. Grandpa's sister was here. Now, Great Aunt Loretta is always making really weird food, like sausage with sardine sauce. And she drinks spinach and sprout shake, which we call green glue. She's always stubbing her toe. We have a pack of peas in the freezer that we always put on it. And she's often like this, or like this. And she makes Grandpa feel like this.
There's nothing for it. We'll have to get out there before she makes a terrible mess.
What a terrible mess.
It's not a terrible mess.
It is. It needs sorting.
No, it doesn't. We like it like this.
You don't know anything about gardens, you lot. But I know a man who does.
Great Aunt Loretta had sent for her friend, Mr Hackit, who knew about gardens. Or at least, that's what he thought. Grandpa and I couldn't imagine what he was going to do to our garden. One thing was certain, Mr Hackit was bad news.
Oh, Mr Hackit!
Grandpa wasn't at all happy.
I think I'll just go for a little lie down.
We just have to play in here, Grandpa, and let them get on with it.
We'll do no such thing, Jason. Mr Hackett will hack the garden to pieces if we don't stop him. Don't you worry.
Not the shrinking cap, Grandpa!
Catch me if you can.
You know when Grandpa shrinks, he can get up to all kinds of magical things. Grandpa! Get down, Grandpa! Not the plane, Grandpa! He can fly off in my plane. He can get into my car and make it go. he's worth. Grandpa! Get down, Grandpa! Grandpa? Grandpa, come back! When Grandpa shrinks and disappears, everyone thinks he's having a little lie down. Apart from me. But right now, I had no idea where he was. Until... Whee! He was flying about on Gordon, my toy seagull. Grandpa, come back down! I didn't know what Grandpa's plan was, but mine was to get into the garden to see what Mr Hackit was up to. Great Aunt Loretta was showing him the tree.
I mean, just look at it. It's so overgrown.
Oh, Hackett. Hackett by name, Hackett by nature. That's me.
Then she showed him the flower bed.
Look at it. It's full of weeds.
No worries. I'll dig it. I can dig as well as I can hack.
And then she showed him the pond.
Just look at the state of the pond. It's so full of weed. I feel really sorry for Keith.
Keith is the gnome that Great Aunt Loretta gave Grandpa one birthday.
He can't catch any fish in that murky water, can you, Keithy?
Great Aunt Loretta is very keen on Keith.
I'll weed it. No worries.
Great Aunt Loretta left Mr Hackit to get on, but I knew she'd be back later.
Or start with a tree.
No, you mustn't hack the tree!
I'll just get me stepladder.
But there's a bird's nest in the tree! I looked around for Grandpa. I knew he'd be planning to come into the garden soon, and I was right. Grandpa!
Whee!
Get down! Luckily, Grandpa was well hidden by the time Mr Hackit came back.
Right, time for a quick hack.
I wouldn't go up there, Mr Hackit.
Don't you worry about me. Why don't you go and check on your grandpa inside, eh?
But of course, my Grandpa wasn't inside. He was in the nest.
That's no ordinary seagull.
No, it's a cross between a seagull and a pterodactyl. I had to think up a name really fast. It's called a Gordanosaurus. Very rare.
I think maybe I won't hack the tree. I'll do the flower bed. I'll just go and get my spade from the van.
So far, so good, Jason. Go and get the box of beasts ready for my next plan.
Grandpa's next plan was this.
Got me spade. Now it's time to diggity dig. It's a huge hairy spider!
Oh yes, there are tons of those huge hairy spiders in that flower bed.
I think perhaps I'll start on the pond. I'll just pop inside for a drink of water first.
This is going awfully well, Jason. All we've got to do is stop him messing with the pond.
Once Grandpa's got an idea, there's no stopping him. But Mr Hackit came out of the kitchen before Grandpa had a chance to hide. Luckily, Grandpa had an idea.
That's odd. There are two Keiths. I'm sure there was only one Keith before.
Just then, the doorbell went.
I'll go.
When I looked back at the pond, Keith number 2 had gone. I wondered what he was up to. And then I found his clothes. This time, Grandpa had gone too far. The bad news was Grandpa was planning a swim. The worst news was that guess who was back?
Nothing's been done. Come on. I'll help.
Well, the thing is, unfortunately, this garden is full of beasts. And another Keith has appeared.
Another Keith? Don't be so silly. Where's the other Keith?
He was there. He's gone missing.
And at that moment, I realised that something else had gone missing. My alligator. Then I saw Grandpa's cap and I guessed what was coming. Grandpa was hiding in the pond, waggling the alligator.
I told you this garden was full of beasts!
Soon Grandpa was back in his clothes. He whipped off his shrinking cap and came back to his normal size. Well done, Grandpa. I don't think Mr Hackit will be back.
I couldn't have done it without you, Jason. You and the beasts, of course. Teamwork, eh?
Teamwork. Just then, Great Aunt Loretta came down the stairs, so I quickly hid my alligator.
I feel better for having had a little lie down, that's for sure. Oh, you got a bit of pondweed stuck behind your ear, Grandpa. Anyone would think you'd been swimming in the pond with that alligator.
Don't be ridiculous.
I'll have you know, it's a very bad idea to keep alligators in ponds, Jason Mason.
All behind cushions.
With our magic and turn the world hairy.
Oh, how tricky!
We ran out of spells in our hairy fairy tree,
But they don't care.
they love to be hairy. Ha ha, hairies, finding all the laughter in hairy land. Ma, Pa,
And Minnie.
and don't forget there's Nana.
And Chihua Ha Ha, the hairy cat.
But up on the hill in Chateau Shampoo, there's Boris Boo-Hoo.
And Boris too.
Boris is trouble, you wait and see. But they don't care, they love to be hairy. Hairies.
I'm in the mood for a hilarious story today. Any ideas, Quiff?
Hey.
Oh, hello! I think Quiff's found something interesting.
Yep, I have. A hairy berry.
A hairy berry? Is that all? Hairyland is full of hairy berries.
But this one's blue, Wiggy. And hairy berries are usually brown. This is a very rare thing.
You just made me think of a hilarious story.
Have I?
Yep, all about a very rare and precious thing.
Oh, you mean the
Don't tell them. I'm telling them, okay? Okay. One day in Hairyland, when the hairy sun was high in the hairy sky.
Pa was doing some gardening.
And we were watching from the hairy pear tree.
Pa was very happy. But then Pa's always happy. You know Pa.
It's Pa!
It's Pa. It's Pa.
It's Pa! He's one big ha-ha-ha. Whatever he does,
Wherever he goes,
there's a ha-ha-ha. And everyone knows it's Pa!
with his ha.
He's a ha-ha-ha from the top of his head to the tip of his hairy toe. That's Pa! Suddenly, Pa saw something that made him go,
And that something was this.
a crimson-crested Crimpy Crawly.
Crimpy Crawlies usually have yellow crests, but this one was crimson, so it was a very rare and precious thing.
Pa called for Ma and Minnie.
And he showed them the very rare and precious creature.
They were very excited. Oh yes, this was the day Pa found a Crimpy Crawly.
But up on the hill at Chateau Shampoo, someone was dreaming. Can you guess who? Boris, boo-hoo, what's he gonna do?
Yes, Boris was dreaming of having lots of money.
And how could he make lots of money without having to work?
He picked up the hairy stairy to see if he could get an idea.
And Boris saw Minnie holding the Crimpy Crawly.
He was very excited. He handed the hairy stairy to Boise.
And he had an idea.
If he had a very rare and precious Crimpy Crawly as a pet, people would come from all over Hairyland to see it.
And would pay him lots of money.
Boris told Boise to go and get Minnie to bring the Crimpy Crawly to Chateau Shampoo.
Boise couldn't wait. Any excuse to go and visit Minnie.
So off he went.
Boris was very pleased with his plan.
Meanwhile, back in the Ha Ha Hairies garden, they were still admiring the Crimpy Crawly.
And at that moment, who should arrive?
Nana Ha Ha and Chihua Ha Ha.
Minnie showed Nana the Crimpy Crawly.
And Nana said that Crimpy Crawlies live in the Forest of Frizz.
Which meant this little creature was lost.
He's lost! Lost!
Oh, don't get all upset, Wiggy. Look.
They all decided to take the crimson-crested Crimpy Crawly home to the Forest of Frizz.
And just then, who do you think arrived?
Boise!
Pa told everyone to get into the Fluffer-Puffer poo. And that Boise could come too.
Can we go too, Chris?
You bet we can.
Boise had forgotten he was meant to be getting the Crimpy Crawly for Boris.
Off we all went to the Forest of Frizz to take the little creature home.
They puff trot through the Forest of Frizz. Oh, they're going on a journey in the Fluffer-Puffer poo. Poo, poo, zoom, zoom, whiz, whiz. Poo, poo, zoom, zoom, whiz, whiz. Now back at Chateau Shampoo, Boris was getting impatient. Why hadn't Boise arrived with Minnie and the Crimpy Crawly?
He looked through the hairy stairy, and that's when he saw them all.
In the Forest of Frizz!
Boo! How was Boris going to get hold of the Crimpy Crawly now?
He needed a plan.
Boris needs a plan, he needs a plan as quick as he can. He needs to plan a big surprise.
He needs to plan his next disguise.
What'll it be? What'll it be? Fergus, Fauna, the hairy wildlife man.
Meanwhile, in the Forest of Frizz, the Ha Ha Hairies were trying to decide where to leave the little Crimpy Crawly.
We were watching from a frizzy tree.
Would he be happy over here or over there?
Just then, somebody turned up.
Who's that?
Can't you guess? Boris!
Oh, I knew that.
Boris told them he was Fergus Fauna, the hairy wildlife man.
The Ha Ha Hairies were very impressed. Ha introduced the family one at a time.
Ma Ha Ha. Minnie Ha Ha. Nana Ha Ha. And finally, Boise Boo-hoo and Chihua Ha Ha.
Chihua Ha Ha knew that Fergus Fauna was really Boris Boo-hoo in disguise.
And he guessed that Boris was after the crimson-crested Crimpy Crawly.
Fergus Fauna said he knew the perfect place to leave the crimson-crested Crimpy Crawly.
So deep into the forest they went.
Do you think Boris is going to try to get them lost?
Is the sun hairy? You've got it, Wiggy.
But won't Won't Boris get lost himself?
I think he's got a plan. Watch.
And Boris did have a plan. He was dropping hairy berries to leave a trail so he could find his way out of the forest.
We're going deep, deep, deep into the forest.
Deep, deep, deep into the Forest of Frizz.
Everyone's being led by Boris.
And that's what Boris's clever plan is.
But clever Chihua saw what Boris was doing.
And Boris carried on going deep into the forest and laying a trail of hairy berries so he'd be able to find his way out again by following the trail.
And the Ha Ha Hairies tippy-toed behind him.
But all's not lost, don't despair. There's a hairy dog that's hiding there. Chihua Ha Ha will save the day, eating hairy berries on his way.
Deep, deep, deep into the forest.
Deep, deep, deep into the Forest of Frizz. There's lots of trouble ahead for Boris. And that's what Chihuahua's clever plan is.
The Ha Ha Hairies were now deep in the Forest of Frizz.
Fergus Fauna told them that this was where they had to leave the crimson-crested Crimpy Crawly.
Fergus said they must all go. He would stay behind for a few moments just to watch the little creature crawl out of the basket.
So the Hairies did as he said, and at last Boris had the crimson-crested Crimpy Crawly.
Now all he had to do was follow the trail of hairy berries and he'd be out of the forest in no time.
He looked for the trail, but he couldn't see any hairy berries.
Suddenly, Boris realised Chihua Ha Ha had eaten all the hairy berries.
And Chihua was still watching him.
Boris dropped the basket and ran as fast as he could.
The Ha Ha Hairies came back when they heard the barking. They saw the basket.
Pa bent down and lifted it up, and the little rare and precious Crimpy Crawly crawled out and made its way towards the bushes.
The Ha Ha Hairies were lost too. But did they care? They did not. Because clever Chihua Ha Ha could find his way anywhere.
So they all followed Chihua back to the Fluffer-Puffer-Poop.
And funnily enough, the Ha Ha Hairies never saw Fergus Fauna the hairy wildlife man ever again.
I guess Boris must have found his way out in the end.
Oh yes, but he never got a Crimpy Crawly.
Are we going to stare at that hairy berry or are we going to eat it?
Oh, we can't eat it. It's a rare and precious thing, Wiggy.
Not as rare as the crimson-crested Crimpy Crawly.
It might be. I've never seen another blue hairy berry.
Not as beautiful as a crimson-crested Crimpy Crawly then.
It's beautiful to me.
I think it's so beautiful that we should eat it.